been having some arguments with people, I know that's shocking, about the state of wrestling today. One guy in particular who seems to think things are great. Things are going just fine. WWE's been around for so long, they can't possibly do anything incorrect. It's just, pay-per-view buy rates are horrendous. Ratings are down. Every conceivable business measuring
metric
down. But hey, things are just fine. Don't question Vince McMahon. He never makes any mistakes. Anyway, the point is, I remember, and it was funny because I was talking about this when arguing with this person, that I remember in the spring of 1998 when WCW was at its peak, and actually in many ways doing better than WWE is doing today. They had sold out like 16 straight house shows. Their ratings were through the roof. Whole 9 yards. Things were great. Making money. It was like $125 million a year. It was the biggest year in the history of any wrestling company in the entire history of the earth, is how well WCW did this year. Anyway, in the spring of that year, despite all of this great stuff happening, I wrote an article about how this company's in trouble. They need to make some changes. And 3 years later, dead. Now, I'm not saying that in 3 years WWE is going to be dead, but I am saying that there are problems in WWE. I recognize them. Almost everybody listening to this recognizes them. Except for this person apparently doesn't recognize them. But largely, 99% of you recognize all of these problems. These problems need to be remedied. These things aren't just going to turn around. You can't just hope and pray that, I guess, technological advances will occur that will, make up for pay-per-view buys being down and such. Shit's happening. There's trouble. So, anyway, we just happen to turn on 24/7, and what should be airing on WWE Classics but Nitro from spring of 1998, the exact time that I was writing this article. So, we're going to look back. We're going to look back at Nitro from April 27, 1998, when WCW was at its peak, and I was writing about how Doom was coming. And it was funny, because around that time, WCW fans, the real WCW hardcores, were saying the exact same thing this person is saying now. Bryan, you need to quit preaching the gloom and doom. Look at all these shows they're selling out. Everything's great. Yeah, well, everything wasn't great. So, we're going to talk about that show, and then we're going to wrap it up with one of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time, which featured, in fact, one of the best hot tags I've seen in many years.
Maybe all my life.
Maybe all my life. So that's coming up, everybody. And to start off, to kick off the deal, for those that have not been listening to the show of late because they're freeloaders, we're not repeating stuff anymore. I'm not doing a Raw report. I did one last night on Wrestling Observer Radio. If you want to hear the Raw report, well, you're going to have to sign up. Because on Tuesdays now, Vinny is going to mention the things on that show that he thought were great, if anything, and the things on that show that he thought were horrible, if anything. Same thing with the pay-per-view this past Sunday, SmackDown this past Friday night. We're going to get through these things quickly. Nobody needs repetition. We just need the meat. We just need to cut out the boring aspects of the show. And I should note, by the way, when talking about Nitro, if we cut out the boring aspects of Nitro from 1998, the show would have been
6 minutes long.
6 minutes long, yeah. So I'm trying to do that with this particular program here. So, Vinny, starting with SmackDown. Yeah, we're starting with SmackDown. We'll go in order.
SmackDown?
What?
I thought we did SmackDown on the last show.
Actually, we did. We talked about the live event. Yeah. Never mind. Starting with Hell in the Cell. Was there anything good on this show?
There were two good matches in the show. The opener, the three-way submissions count anywhere match. There's not much to say about it other than they had a good match. It was three guys. They given a weird, wacky, pointless tip that probably hurt the match. They still went out and had a 3-ish star affair. Just three guys working hard to have a match. There was a point where Miz disappeared, and when I say disappeared, I don't mean like he took a move and fell out of the ring. Early on, he just walked out of the ring, and so Bryan and Morrison wrestled, and Bryan hooked a heel hook, which is an instant submission if you get it right. He had this on for like a minute, and Miz was just gone. That was stupid. And they brought into the crowd, which usually sucks, but these guys were working hard, so it was good. They did some spots with a box. Morrison got to use some of his parkour, hit a big wacky dive off the lighting stage onto both guys. Riley came out to interfere. I always love it when guys come out to interfere like this in no DQ matches, because why do you wait till the finish? Why don't just come out and wrestle as a tag team the entire match?
That would make too much sense.
I see. So he took out Morrison. Morrison took a completely stupid front bump onto the ramp. Then Danielson shoved Riley off the stage, and it tapped out Miz with the LeBell lock on the ramp. He was the winner. He had defeated his hated rival with the wild card Morrison thrown in. All was right in his world for exactly 24 hours. We also had the other good match was the Cena Barrett match, which was, I don't know how long it's been since that horrible, awful, terrible Wade Barrett Chris Jericho match on Raw, but this was the opposite extreme of that. He looked really good here. He looked like he totally belonged in a WWE semi-main event. That's good. And the booking with the entire Raw roster coming down to clear the ring of Nexus, and Cena got to kick out of everything, and Barrett, even though he had to cheat to win in the end, he did get to escape both the FU and the STF. So he was far from a geek in this match. And then, as we all know, McGillicuddy and Husky Harris interfered, and Wade won. And then was the best part of the entire show, the shots of outraged youngsters, shocked children, weeping women in the crowd.
Did you see the YouTube video on the front page?
I have not watched that yet. I saw the link. I'm not. But
what are you waiting for?
I don't know. I saw it and thought I'll check that out in my next thing when I'm done with this, and I forgot it.
This kid had a panic attack. He literally had a panic attack. He will never be the same. Like, he will be a criminal when he grows up.
That sucks.
That's the behavior that was exhibited in this particular video. I also want to say, by the way, I liked the opener, but there was a spot that made me so pissed off, and I'm actually not going to talk about it now because I will address it when we get to the tag match later on in this program. But as far as the Cena-Wade Barrett match, I thought Wade did a great job. I thought the match was shockingly good. I did think WWE guys coming out was actually stupid because the rules were that if Nexus interfered, then Cena just won. So when Nexus surrounded the ring, why did the WWE guys come out? That made no sense. They should have just let them interfere so that Cena would win and then make the save.
Perhaps you were right, but when they came out, it got a giant reaction from the fans.
Sure.
Therefore,
well, the fans, these people aren't very
fans are
smart.
stupid.
Let's be honest.
So it was perfect for stupid wrestling fans.
Yeah.
We also had the fantastic, speaking of stupid, the fantastic Alberto Del Rio segment where he made his debut on pay-per-view. And he was being himself, how awesome he was, comparing himself to various Texas athletes. Edge came out to confront him, said the Chihuahua thing was stupid, the scarf was stupid, and then Jack Swagger came out.
And the segment became stupid.
This segment became stupid, and then worse, it became a very boring match. This was bad. Maybe it wasn't the worst match of all time, but it was a match the crowd had no desire to watch. The crowd did not know, and Lawler pointed this out, they don't know whether they should whether they should cheer Edge or not.
They should chew.
Perhaps they should chew Edge. But they worked hard. They did what they could. I was completely bored, noting things like Edge's drawstring was hanging out of his tights. One guy went woo in the crowd at one point, and then eventually Edge just won. The match was an ordeal. There was a point. It was an ongoing theme, but the announced team as usual for pay-per-views was Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, and Matt Stryker. Michael Cole is basically a babyface. Well, Michael Cole is a polarized announcer, I should say. He was very much a babyface announcer for the John Cena versus Nexus feud. He was begging for Cena to win by any means necessary. He mentioned at one point that if Nexus won, their jobs could be on the line. Mm-hmm. Not sure how that works. But then, he of course loves Miz. He also loved Alberto. Then you have Stryker, who loves all the babyfaces and all the shows, except, for no reason, Nexus. He admires them. So between the two of them, you have this wild inconsistency of, I'm a heel announcer, now I am not. And it was, frankly, quite terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, the main event was Undertaker and Kane. It fucking sucked a cock.
That was a terrible match.
It was very long. It was very boring. I don't know who expected more.
They may be moving the Buried Alive match up to bragging rights, which I'm fine with.
Get it done?
The faster we get this feud over with, the better.
It has failed.
Yeah, and there is a lot of talk that this is the end for The Undertaker. like this is his last year. Like, hopefully he makes it to WrestleMania, but it ain't lasting much longer than that. And another guy gone, another superstar out of here, and they're determined to not make stars. Which brings us to Raw. Any thoughts on the Daniel Bryan destruction at the hands of Sheamus?
Yeah, it was bullshit. It was stupid bullshit. I mean, well, yeah. There's nothing to say about it to defend it. He's standing there in the ring.
Apparently there's plenty. I've been arguing all day long on the board.
Name names.
I don't want to name names, but this fella just says that Daniel will never be a star, so who cares?
Well, if that's your attitude, then they should fire him.
If that's your attitude, then Sheamus should be the champion.
Also true. So I don't know, but he was standing in the ring. His music was playing, but he didn't get an entrance. He was standing there. His nameplate was falling off the belt, and then Sheamus came out and destroyed him completely, humiliated him, punked him, made him look like a small child. Was disqualified for kicking too much ass.
Yeah.
The worst finish on earth.
Yeah.
It should be a ref stoppage, and instead
excessive violence.
He is disqualified for winning on him.
Mm-hmm. But hey, Daniel Bryan got the W.
Yeah, that's right. He beat a former champion.
Sure.
And I'm sure in storyline they will say that, Bryan was injured and therefore could not be in the Battle Royal later. But when you had a Battle Royal and the U.S. champion is not in it, it comes off like he is the, at best, mind you, the number 21 contender.
Well, he was. He was hurt so badly by Sheamus.
There were 20 men more deserving of a title shot than Daniel Bryan.
He was hurt so badly he could not come out and compete.
Do we know why that was done yet, by the way? Other than they're just stupid?
All I know is that it was Vince's idea.
They want... Apparently, they think this... having Sheamus kill him will suddenly make people want to buy bragging rights. And that is worth whatever long-term loss they get from
Or they feel that will rehab Sheamus.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. But and they think it will rehab him to the point it is worth burying Daniel Bryan as well as the U.S. Championship.
Yeah.
That sucked.
They don't know what they're doing.
No, well, they do not know in that one. The Cena feud is actually going great.
Well, so far it is very good.
So far, it's because the whole thing... It was the whole show. If you have not, you don't need me to tell you what happened on Raw by this point, the main angle on Raw. But it is a genius idea because it allows them to do something fresh with John Cena for the first time in about 6 years without pissing off his fan base. Because John Cena did not...
Well, that's not entirely true. There were people walking out after he stepped out of the Battle Royal there at the end. People left the building.
Wasn't the show over?
Well, the show was getting close to over, but these people were very upset.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's worse than I would have thought, but it's not.
And that kid that's going to grow up to be a criminal.
There are criminals being spawned as we speak. But this was not John Cena. John Cena did not play Hulk Hogan telling the fans to stick it. John Cena caught himself in a bad situation and is doing his best to, do his best. But the fans still cheer for him. He is still wearing his shirts. They still chant his name. They still chant "Never Give Up" at him. They feel badly for him.
Never give up.
They were chanting "Never Give Up." I swear to God that happened. It took me, because I couldn't tell what it was. I had to go back. Then I looked at his shirt and realized, yes, they are chanting "Never Give Up" at you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
These are some loyal fans of Mr. Cena.
If I have two nitpicks with this angle so far. First, John Cena came out, and apparently his plan was just that, yes, he will wear Nexus's gear, but he's still going to beat all of them up. So, he never intended to... He was not a man of his word. No, exactly. Yeah. He was not a man of his word. And if there's one guy who you could have done this storyline with, and the fans would have begged him to defy his word, but he would have stuck by it no matter how much it made him sick because it's the right thing to do, that man is John Cena.
See, here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. It's not the right thing to do. Your choice is to be a man of your word and beat up a bunch of baby faces, or not beat up your friends and not be a man of your word.
They're both wrong things to do.
Sure, but I mean, it's like
the only
it would not be very nice if I beat you up.
Many would disagree with that, actually, but we'll go with it.
If I threw this water bottle at you and then started stabbing you with these scissors, that would not be the right thing.
No.
But if I'd given my word to do that, that's not going to hold up in court.
I see.
You know what I mean? So I don't have a problem with that, because John Cena, yes, he was not a man of his word, but he was trying to do the right thing by his friends.
Yeah. The other nitpick is that there's trouble brewing in the Nexus.
Upholding your word to join villains doesn't work with me. It's do the right thing, even if you have to tell a white lie.
A white lie?
Yeah.
It's not a white lie. It's a bold-faced open lie, a defiance of what you promised to do.
Sure.
Of what you put at stake.
If they would have upheld this, I would have been more upset at WWE for just killing another stipulation. But they did hold up to it, so I'm fine.
All right. The other nitpick is that there's trouble brewing in Nexus between Wade Barrett and David Otunga. There's going to be a power play at some point going on.
Can't wait for that one.
Well, that's actually not the nitpick I have. The nitpick is, it's happening and John Cena happens to be there. You would think that if he was this reluctant guy, the reluctant member, that he would have pulled Otunga aside and said, listen, you can't let Wade talk this shit to you. No, Otunga pulled Cena aside. Yeah. So this is not John Cena pulling the strings and playing puppet master. No, John Cena is an unwilling pawn in the power struggle between Otunga and Wade Barrett.
Yeah, maybe there's more to come.
It is a nitpick. I acknowledge it's a nitpick. It's working. It seems fresh. It's apparently just pissing off some people, but it's also getting a vastly improved rating. So I give that a giant thumbs up.
Well, I don't know about a vastly improved rating. It recovered from depths of despair. You know what's sad is I have no faith in this angle.
Well, I don't blame you.
This company has now gotten to the point where I have no faith in anything they do. I just don't anymore. You know?
Did you feel that way going into Raw? Or
I watch it and it's like, okay, yes, that was in fact good. But do I have any faith it's still going to be good next week? I have a little bit of faith they're going to make it 2 weeks. Do I have any faith this is still going to be good at bragging rights? No. I don't have any faith at all. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I am bitter. Maybe I'm cynical here. But quite frankly, I don't think so. Because there is a track record, and the Daniel Bryan thing is a great example. There's a track record, Caval. I could go on and on. Jack Swagger.
There is, in fact, a giant track record.
There's a track record.
The Hart Dynasty.
The Hart Dynasty. You do something in Nexus.
You build someone up.
Look at how much faith we had in the Nexus angle, and then they beat him at SummerSlam.
You build something up, and then you pull the rug out from under them for no good reason.
Regardless of what anybody says, Nexus has never been the same since they lost at SummerSlam. Never been the same. Wade Barrett is hated, but as a group, they're really all geeks now. They're really all geeks. And quite frankly, Wade Barrett should be a much bigger star than he is, but he also got beat at SummerSlam because they just can't do it. They get worried. We got to create some new stars. They'll start to get going, and then they have a freak out. And then they got to go back to putting over all of the same old geeks over and over again. It just happens every time. I have no faith in this. Like Orton, Orton's probably going to beat Barrett, and then Miz will cash in the briefcase or something like that. Or Barrett will beat Orton, and then Miz will cash in, and Barrett will have a 10-second title reign. I know they're going to fuck this whole thing up. There's no chance of them not fucking this up. That's how little faith I have in this company right now. They're just going to do something wrong. Hopefully not by next week, but very good chance. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this angle. Yes, it was really fucking good on Monday night.
Week 1 was good.
It was really good.
We will see about week 2.
You know how many week 1s I've seen that are really good in the history of wrestling?
Quite a few.
I've even seen them from Vince Russo. I've seen many, many great fucking week 1s. It's week 2. It's week 3. It's week 4. Especially when they actually have they know where they're going at least with this angle. This is not like the GM where at this point they still have absolutely no idea who the GM is going to be. They have absolutely no idea where they're going with the GM. They're going to keep doing what they're doing until someone comes up with a great idea. Okay? So with Cena and Barrett, they actually know where they're going in the end. They've got an end game in mind, but they've only got the end game. They don't have like a week-by-week storyline. They know where it's going to be at the end, and I don't even think they know when the end is going to be. I suspect the end is just going to be when they feel it's time, which I have this feeling is going to be sooner rather than later, especially if people keep walking out of shows. But the point is, they only have an end game, so they're still booking week to week. Not effective. It's great that you have an end game, but you've got to go backwards and plan out all of your storylines, preferably week by week, leading to the beginning, which would have been this past Monday. You go week to week, and something's going to happen. You're going to do something wacky, and by the time you get to that end point, it's going to be nothing like what you plan. And if you plan something good, well, we'll see where it goes. But I just have no faith. These no faith. Caval losing to Chavo Guerrero. all of that season of NXT where you put your faith in Caval and he finally won. And he was rewarded by losing to Chavo. How can anybody have any faith in this? That's one of the reasons that interest is down so far. Where were we?
We were talking about Raw. The other segment that I really enjoyed involved Michael Cole, Edge, Miz, and Alex Riley. Michael Cole was in the ring. They had a new computer. And he's reading the email from the GM. He calls out Edge, demands an apology for destroying the last computer. Edge comes out. He repeats his quest to eliminate stupidity from WWE. He vows to win the championship. At this point, Michael Cole interrupts him. He reads the GM's email. He announces the Battle Royal. That would be in the main event. But says Edge won't be in it because he has been traded to SmackDown. Edge was very happy about this. He was happy to be to have the GM out of his hair and go to a better show. He started threatening Michael Cole and insulting him. And this is where it got great, because Michael Cole became completely indignant. He declared himself to be the official voice of WWE. He demanded respect. He reminded me very much here of our friend Sean. If Sean was a WWE announcer cutting a heel promo, it would have sounded a lot like this.
It's actually true.
Maybe that's why I liked it so much. It also helped that he's cutting this promo on Edge, and for literally no reason, he is standing on a podium with like an 18-inch riser. Mm-hmm. He's just to be towering over Edge. That is such a petty, small man thing to do, and that made it great. So Edge was about to kill him when out came Miz and Riley, and then Edge and Miz had a fun segment. Edge called Miz an Edge wannabe, talked about what they had in common, how the Money in the Bank, they both have one-syllable names. He said he was using awesomeness while Miz was still in high school. He said he had a wedding, a divorce, and live sex on air, although he could not use that term. But he had never seen Miz talk to a woman. At this point, he said, unless you count Alex Riley, Riley made fun of Edge's long hair and pouty lips. Cole, who was back in commentary, cackled. I love it when heels make jokes and other heels cackle. That's always great. So the point of all this was they went back and forth. They started a fight. Edge speared Riley, but then Miz laid him out with a skull-crushing finale. And it took me a second to figure out why they were doing this angle if Edge is leaving. Then I realized bragging rights is coming up. And Miz is going to captain Team Raw, and Edge is going to captain Team SmackDown. It's going to come back to the two of them. So there you go.
Let's play a quick song here, and then we're going to get into Nitro. No, I didn't mean Impact. I mean Nitro. So hold on one sec. Let's play this song.